Well, hello. Welcome to All Today. We took last week off to commit. We wanted to stand in solidarity with these 343 Industries, developers. They've been getting a lot of hate over Halo. You know what? We're not going to stand for it, right, boys?
That's right. This podcast is on lockdown.
Yeah, we're on lockdown until Monday, and if you're not careful, there'll be no podcast after this.
I
You'll
am
be
walking
banned.
out on my job. I'm
Yeah.
gonna leave
yeah.
those poor kids without a teacher.
General
But
strike.
yeah, I've already cleared it. Well, listen, people are being really mean to the Halo developers.
They're trying the best they can. They're charging $10 for paint. We really owe it to
20.
them. Oh, 20. My bad. Oh, man, those poor
Well, and
developers.
to be clear, paint you can only use on, whatever clothes you're wearing at the time.
One
Oh,
armor set.
yes.
Yeah, so, just in case anyone's out of the loop, the Halo Reddit's been a fun place to look over this past week. They shut it down because too many people were complaining. So, can't have that. And they use the latest marketing approved term, toxic, to refer to anyone who does not like what's going on. So, enjoy this future we've created.
Yeah, they said both sides were toxic, but
Both sides. We know what
obviously,
they meant. If everyone
we
was
know.
praising the game, there would be no problem.
If everyone was toxically praising the game, I mean, have you seen the Last of Us subreddit?
Setzer, how are you doing this week?
I'm doing all right. How about yourself?
Well, not too bad. Cheston, what about you?
Other than a terrible sinus infection, because apparently I'm gonna be sick every day now. That my child is almost 2. Other than that, doing all right.
You've been tested for COVID, I think, 7 or 8 times, and you've come back
Yes.
negative every time.
I've run out of my at-home tests.
Yes, that's
So
impressive.
I had to get an away-from-home test with a weird, non-official medical company named after a shark.
Oh, yeah? What kind of shark? Like, is it called, like, hammerhead?
Mako.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, or I could have thought it was like Final Fantasy VII, but they have a shark in their logo.
Well, Shinra's kind of a shark.
Kind of.
They're shark-like in their approach to how they deal with civilians.
I don't think we need to get political in this podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, keep your politics out of my Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
I will not comment on
It's just a game about
Shinra.
an evil corporation sucking the planet dry, you asshole.
Yeah, don't worry
There's
about
no
it.
politics there. The planet's dying. He's just like being like general. Don't read into it.
Just fight the goblins, you idiot. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Just have the slap fight on the cannon. That's all you need to care about.
That is true. That's the best part of the game. So I think I will start this week as a shocking twist of events. First, let's go back to Shin Megami Tensei V. I finished it.
Oh, do we have to?
Yes, we do. It's not. I don't have a lot to say. It's not very long. I mean, what am I talking about? It's like 60 hours long. So it's. So I was enjoying it pretty well, but then I hit this area where I was like level 50, and the bosses in the area were, I think, like level 62. Up until that point, I feel like I was kind of evenly leveled with everything, and then all of a sudden I'm like way under leveled. And not to be too cynical, but this game does sell EXP boosters. so part of me is like, I'm even until this very specific spot, and then all of a sudden I'm way under, and I can buy this thing. All of a sudden it's not an issue. I don't know. It's just weird.
Well, Derek, it's a free-to-play game. They have to make their money somehow.
Well, that's true. This free-to-play game I paid $60 for.
Well, yeah, but it's free every time you play it. You don't
That's true.
pop in $1 to your Switch every time you turn it on.
You got a good point there. I got to give Atlas some.
Get over
slack.
yourself, you toxic man baby.
I am a toxic man baby. You're right about that. I might just be cynical. Like maybe I could have looked for more side quests, but I found it to get really grindy there. I got over that part, but I thought it was very interesting how it approached that. But other than that specific section, the game is really fun. It's really well done. Though the one weird thing is like in Nocturne, they have multiple endings, and it's based on your choices throughout the game. Whereas this one, you get to the final dungeon, and they're like, well, here's 3 choices, and you can choose what ending you want, basically. And then there's a secret 4th ending you get by beating the super mega boss, which is level 96. So that's always fun. I got through all that. I got the secret ending. It's fine. Those games are also, as I've said before, it's a lot of like filling out the details for yourself.
Does it have a nice tease for the next game?
No, no.
You have like find a Joker card and be like,
Joker doesn't pop in mid credits and say, "Let's go hunt shadows" or something. But I like the concept of the game a lot. Basically, it's like think of like any mythological god, and they're all battling for like the right to recreate the universe in their image. That's basically what
Poseidon.
the yeah, pretty much. Because like during the final dungeon, you're like fighting like Zeus and stuff to get the right to recreate the world raw for the mere $2.99. You can simply bypass the grinding there. So I guess that's what gaming is nowadays. But otherwise, I think the game's pretty solid. I enjoyed it quite a bit. Moving on to Pokemon.
All right.
Pokemon Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl. I think this is probably my favorite Pokemon game since Pokemon Black and White 2.
Hell yeah.
There are problems with it. I think this game is released incomplete, which is just how video games are nowadays, I suppose, because the GTS just isn't there. There's always an NPC blocking your way to the GTS that says, "Oh, don't worry, it's coming eventually." And Nintendo said they're going to patch it. Why this isn't available day one, I have no idea. Yeah, I just don't know. Like, I feel like Nintendo's been doing this a lot lately, where they'll release a game like, "Oh, we're releasing updates for free later on," but it's really just an excuse to release an incomplete game. I look at like Mario Golf and Mario Tennis as big examples of this.
Mario Tennis less so than golf, but for sure. Tennis was at least just bonus characters, but golf had like 6. I mean, I need to go back and play that game because apparently it's like doubled in size, and some people say is quite good now. But yeah, at launch it was kind of silly.
Yeah, so other than the GTS thing though, which is just a nitpick, because as Cheston said, like he didn't want to use that till the end game anyway. So whatever.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was more like, because Nintendo does like to control the way people play their games. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're like, well, we don't want people to play an inauthentic run of this game where they trade for like zany legendaries in the beginning and then just run the table.
Well, what pissed me off though is that they patched the game this week, and I was excited because like, oh, maybe the GTS is in. They patched out glitches like infinite duplication glitches where you duplicate your Pokemon, so people can't do that, but you can't put in your GTS stuff. So it's just a little annoying. Let me duplicate my Pokemon. Let me make my two Dialgas.
I want to say that they probably got rid of the duping glitch for the reason that they want to get the GTS up and running.
Yeah, that's
without
true.
that being a concern.
That's possible.
I mean, that's just, again, they really care about how you play their game.
They do.
They don't want you to have fun on your terms.
So what I like about this remake is it feels like it's faithful to the original. Like I don't know if either of you played Omega Ruby Diamond, whatever the Sapphire one is.
I wasn't a fan.
But to me, that game felt like Pokemon X and Y, but with like a Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire like tint. You know what I mean? Like it's just the skin of that game. Whereas this feels like a prettied up version of Diamond and Pearl from the old days. So it has like some modern quality of life features, like HMs are gone. Your Pokemon can follow you around, which is not really a quality of life thing, but it is something people like. So it'll immediately be gone next game. The EXP shares in from the modern games, so your Pokemon are always at a fighting level. And there's an addition I really enjoy, the ball capsule, which lets you like decorate your Pokemon as they come out. So you throw, let's say, like Piplup out, and there's an explosion of whatever decorations you want. And I think that's really neat. And of course, Game Freak will ignore it for Arceus, so it'll be gone forever. But that's how these games work. I will say I don't think this game is too easy. People say EXP share makes the game too simple, and I don't agree. I found that if just playing normally, I was like 2 or 3 levels above the gym leaders I would get to. So usually, I actually feel it's more challenging in a way because in the old ways I would often overlevel Pokemon and just like stomp gym leaders. And this, I feel like I'm progressing more naturally. So I enjoy that.
I agree.
Can I make a note here?
Yeah.
I agree with you 100% on the EXP share. Have you noticed, though, that XP share only makes the game more difficult in that it adds more time you have to waste?
What do you mean by that?
I mean, people in general, I was planning to talk about this a little later too when we talk about Halo, but people, it seems these days, equate difficulty to time wasted.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
So it's only harder because you waste hours and hours leveling up Pokemon one at a time.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, if you were to approach it that way for this game, where you're just like mindlessly battling over and over again, yeah, you'll be over leveled, but you shouldn't
Yeah,
approach it that
those
way.
old games were only ever difficult as a consequence of being inconvenient to your time.
Exactly.
I would even say this is one of the harder Pokemon games. If you're playing it the way it's like meant to be played, I guess, because like the champion is just hard. Like I don't know how you guys play through the story, but I usually don't have like a lot of like advanced tactics for like the story because the trainers aren't very strong.
No,
Like they
you
just
don't need
generally
to.
have attack moves or whatever.
Yeah,
Well, the champion and the Elite Four all like they ramp the difficulty up like 5 times. They're way harder than the other trainers. So they're like using stats and baton passes and all this crazy stuff that you normally would only see with like humans. So it's strange. You go in like I felt my Pokemon were adequately leveled, and I think I got totally stomped by Cynthia. I would say it's like the hardest champion they've ever had, but it might just be the same as the DS one. I just don't remember.
I had heard that this one was really hard, but before.
But her Garchomp is like brutally punishing. For the first time in a while in a Pokemon game, it felt like an accomplishment to beat the Elite Four. I will say it's kind of jarring to have like a cakewalk until the very end. But I kind of get it. Like these are supposed to be like the most elite trainers, so there being a difficulty spike at the very end makes sense. I don't know if I like it, but I get it. Because at that point it's like I kind of done. I kind of want to be kind of want to beat this game, get to the end game, that sort of thing.
I really like it.
I think whenever Setzer gets there, he will appreciate it, and then we can bitch about how Game Freak will ditch every good thing this game does, and just ignore it for the next one. So,
Well, I'll cut you a deal. I probably won't be receiving my Switch for a while now. But I know my wife loves Pokemon Diamond and Pearl. I didn't play those back in the day, so I have no
oh,
I have no
well,
compulsion to play the remakes,
then I'd
honestly.
be really curious what you think about these because I'd want to see what someone that is coming in fresh because I
Oh
want to
yeah.
put you in a room and have you play this and Sword and Shield back to back and see what you prefer.
God,
I have a
torture.
feeling you'd
It
prefer
makes
this
someone
over
play
Sword and
Sword and
Shield.
Shield. Yeah.
Well, one thing I will say is that this game does not feel incomplete, despite the GTS thing I mentioned. Compared to the Sword and Shield problems, that's really not that big of a deal, I don't think. It is kind of weird to go back to random battles in the overworld. There is an underground where you can see your Pokemon, but I don't know. I kind of liked the non-random battles. It was kind of nice to
Mm-hmm.
know what you're getting into. So.
Yeah, you win some, you lose some.
That's what was cool about SMT5. It was not random battles, whereas Nocturne was. So it's like it was nice to be able to see what you're fighting. That's enough about Pokemon. Now for the last thing, I have joined the FF14 expansion, and by joined I mean waited in lines.
Sucker.
Yes. So for those that don't know, the latest FF14 expansion, Endwalker, had its early release on Friday, and it's been a lot of waiting, I will say. I've gotten to play 3 times since this came out, and all my queue times have been about an hour and a half,
Whoa.
which is long. But it reminded me of WoW Classic when that launched, and compared to that, these aren't so bad because I think I waited in a queue for like 3 or 4 hours before giving up in WoW Classic before. So while this is bad, it could be worse, I suppose, but it doesn't excuse it. My early impression so far is that there are a lot of story segments to start this game. Like a lot. It feels like half the quests are walk to an NPC, talk to them for like 15 minutes, and then mission complete, then walk to another one. I think by the time I got to the first dungeon, I had maybe 1 or 2 fighting quests, which is insane to me, but that's what it is. For reference, to the first dungeon, I think is like mid-level 81, and the expansion starts at level 80. So when you're playing MMOs, those higher levels take a while to get to. So that should give you a little bit of an idea of how long it takes. But the first dungeon is a lot of fun, and after that, it's been a little more action-packed. So I think it's just a typical JRPG where they start slow and you get going after a while. So, but it's an MMO, so it just feels strange.
Typical MMO JRPG.
Yes.
Or JMMO RPG.
Yeah, it's fun. I don't know what I was expecting, but it's sure an MMO launch. You go to town and there's a billion players huddling around the NPCs, making them impossible to see.
Yeah, doesn't it feel kind of cozy?
Yeah, it does. It reminds me of simpler times. It's not quite like in Burning Crusade where I was like waiting in line to fight NPCs or whatever, but it's pretty fun.
Yeah, get in queue for World of Warcraft, Burning Crusade, wait 3 hours, go over and play Devil May Cry 4, probably finish the whole game, make a sandwich,
Unless you're
come
playing on
back.
PS3, then you gotta install it. Unbelievable.
Well, then you can make 2 sandwiches.
Yeah, exactly. But I have not played any of the new classes. I don't have a Sage or a Reaper yet. I think I'm going to make a Sage at some point, but we'll see. I think Setter, you said you were going to hold off until the hype has died down a little bit, so you can actually play the game. And I think that is
Yeah,
probably a good call.
yeah. My wife also enjoys FFXIV, and we're targeting January at
I think
this
that's
time.
probably because I think the
Yeah.
worst of it will probably be Tuesday, because that's when the game actually launches.
Hmm.
But we'll see how long it takes for people to fall off. I curse whatever streamer it was that abandoned WoW. And brought
Asmongold.
yeah, you brought the Zoomers with you, and I'll never forgive you. Go back to your other games. I was kind of iffy at first, but I do not think this will be another Stormblood. I don't know if it'll be as strong as Shadow Walkers, but it'll be pretty good.
I've been pretty ever since I finished Shadowbringers. I've been kind of bearish on how you could possibly follow up on that because
Yeah,
it was just so good. It wasn't perfect, but it was close to perfect. We'll say.
yeah.
Like I can't think of a better expansion than Shadowbringers.
No, it's the best one. Like I would say, it's better than the previous gold standard Burning Crusade.
Yeah, yeah. So now it's difficult for me to consider like how could Endwalker follow up on that. And it's funny, Yoshi P gave an interview a couple months ago, I think, where he basically said like people were really skeptical of Shadowbringers, and they were skeptical of the characters in that, based on the pre-patch at the end of Stormblood.
Hmm.
And we realized people are skeptical of the characters for Endwalker, based on the Shadowbringers pre-patch. So give it some time and see what you think. And I really ended up loving the characters in Shadowbringers. So
Yeah, they were. That whole crew was pretty good.
yeah, yeah.
And I think the overall plot is pretty simplistic, but it's
Hmm.
fun. It's fun. Cheston is basically they're trying to stop this doom end of the world sort of thing. So again, very simplistic, but it's
Very
fun.
Final Fantasy.
Yeah, it's very Final
Yeah,
Fantasy.
I mean, what do you expect?
But hey, like the boss of the
The
first
Adams Family.
dungeon. Yes. But the boss of the first dungeon was the Mega Sisters, so I just get a kick out of stuff like that. I don't know, but I guess that will do it for me. So Cheston and Setzer have Halo Infinite to talk about. We're gonna do something a little different. Setzer is gonna open with talks about Deathloop, and then Cheston's gonna talk about Halo 4, and then we're gonna have a big old Halo Infinite discussion.
I'll say this: Deathloop was my most anticipated game of the year,
Oh
Yes.
no.
and I haven't played enough to have a full opinion on it yet.
Boo.
I played through the first level. This game it's not like Prey. It's more like Dishonored. It's more divided into discrete levels. The difference is that because the game is kind of based on this like loop concept, like kind of like a roguelike or like Hades, you can go to the different areas in different orders, and the order you visit them determines the time of day at which you visit them. So, I haven't finished my first loop because I'm having some technical difficulties getting this game to run, or run well, I should say. So I have a 2560 by 1080, ultra wide monitor,
Yeah.
and when I started the game the first time, it thought I had some crazy like 4K resolution. It was like a struggle to get into the options and change that. And so now that the resolution is right, it thinks my monitor is 72 hertz refresh rate instead of 60 for some reason. So VSync is broken. So the game hitches and stutters like crazy. It says like I don't have enough VRAM to play the game, even at the lowest of the low settings. But then I turn it on very high and it runs just fine at 60 frames per second. So it's just weird. It's just really disappointing that performance issues are what sank the Dishonored 2 launch, and it's disappointing to see, that repeated again here with Deathloop. So,
Well, for what it's worth, I've heard people don't really like Deathloop that much. I've heard that it's fun, but there's a twist that happens that people turn people off the game apparently. So I'm
People
very
don't
curious.
like the fourth most highly reviewed game of the year.
Well, I've heard a lot of people like talk shit on it lately, and I think I can't tell you why because it relates to a different game that someone else played this year that had very similar plot mechanics that people don't like.
12 minutes.
that's what I thought too. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's it. So
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I have to say, just based on I played like the little intro area and then the first like actual get in the game area. So I based on that, I'm really not super invested in the story. I think Arcane did what they do best and made a really cool world. This it's just a treat to like walk around. I realize that sounds really lame, but just the
no,
amount of effort and thought and care that went into crafting this like pseudo 1960s sci-fi brutalist.
almost a grindhouse feel. I feel.
I wouldn't go that far. It reminds me, like in video game terms, it reminds me of TF2. But I mean, I think in the tutorial mission, you go to a place called the library,
Oh no.
which is just not the no. We're talking about Halo later. Um, but it's this beautiful mid-century modern house, and it just like walking up the stairs in that place or playing with the little candy dispensers, stuff like that. I really, I liked that.
How is the crown molding?
Beautiful.
Oh, very good.
Like you ask in jest, but no, they put a lot of
I bet it's
care
great.
into it.
I bet it's
Yeah.
great.
The gameplay that I did play was pretty fun. It's kind of like a two hands first person shooter plus a kick button. So you can have like a gun in your right hand and then like a gadget or tool or power in your left hand, kind of like Skyrim. And you can also like dual wield guns too in this game, kind of like older Halo games. And you get the kick button back from Dark Messiah, which is always fun. I kicked a guy off a ledge a few times, but the dialogue in this game is kind of insufferable.
Uh-oh.
When you start, your guy doesn't your player character Colt doesn't remember anything basically. He doesn't remember his name. And your rival Juliana is taunting you over a walkie-talkie. And she says, "Do you even know your name?" or something like that. And your
No.
character Colt goes, "Son of a fuck, what the fuck's my name?"
Oh, I see.
And yeah, at that point, I just kind of like, is this gonna be like a Rick and Morty game or what?
That sounds kind of annoying.
Like I said, I'm not in deep enough to really have an opinion. I've probably spent 45 minutes playing the game and 90 minutes troubleshooting the graphics settings. So
Great.
yeah, we're not off to a great start.
But I will say you should feel no shame. You mentioned that you felt kind of lame about like liking to investigate the environments or whatever. Like,
Mhm,
you shouldn't feel bad about that. Like I was thinking about like how Dishonored looks. Like
mhm,
the world in that game is beautiful. Like not even talking about graphic fidelity. It's just a very
right,
pleasant place to look at.
Have
right.
So
you seen me
I
play Hitman? Let me tell you, there's a lot of walking around looking at things.
there are some very well crafted worlds out there. So there's no shame in that.
Well, just to get a little Trojan horse in here for a second, gonna do a little bit of foreshadowing for next week.
Mm.
I
Talking about the Cowboy Bebop anime.
no, I went back and finished Hitman 2 finally, and I love that game. Just some foreshadowing. Anyways, moving on into the breach once more. I played Halo 4 because I was in isolation for 2 days, thinking that I had COVID, and I thought, well, I already feel bad. Maybe I should finally play Halo 4. I bet it's pretty short. And I did almost finish it.
Mhm.
I found out probably 6 missions in that I did not have COVID, and then I stopped playing Halo 4. But I do plan on actually finishing it because at this point I only have 2 levels left, so
Yeah,
I should probably go back and see that through. I'm sure
sure.
the last level has like a little escape scene and stuff, and I'm sure
Mhm.
that'll be just a little hoot and a half.
You could do
Eh,
what my wife does. She gets to the end of Final Fantasy X 2 and just like stops playing it. She doesn't beat the
I
final
do that
boss.
with like
So,
every game. Like
oh yeah,
I have to finish something
true.
eventually. So Halo 4 is like a quintessential 7 out of 10 kind of game.
mhm.
Maybe 6.5, 3
Mhm.
stars if you're doing a 5-star scale.
Yeah.
It's functional, like it's very competent. It's certainly not a bad game or poorly made. Um, feels good to feels
That's
good to
really
move
not something you
around.
should be saying about a Halo, though. Like, it's not a bad game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I'm just clarifying because it's not. I mean, it's
No,
not a
I
bad.
know. I know. I'm just saying, like, that shows.
I'm probably about to be kind of mean to it. So
No, I'm just
I
saying
want
that
to
just
make
shows
sure
how far the franchise has fallen. That
it's been on a long decline. And it started here. So it looks. There are things about the way it looks that I like, some that I don't, but I'll talk about that later. But I like. I think the presentation. It has a behind the Master Chief visor, Metroid Prime style perspective, and I think it looks kind of neat.
Mhm.
And I think the shooting is usually pretty good. And well, let's see what else. The Master Chief collection sure has come a long way, hasn't it?
Mhm.
That thing is greatly different than it was the last time I played it, like 4 years ago. They have really packed that thing full of content. I mean, they've added like 2 games and all kinds of weird achievement stuff that's popping all over the place when I'm playing and shooting grunts. But on the flip side, as far as Halo games go, this game does have a few problems that I can see why a lot of people have soured on it in the years since its launch. I learned while playing it that this game reviewed extremely well at the time, which
Yeah.
blew me
shocker.
Yeah.
away. I had no memory of it. My memory of this game was always that it kind of came and then went and was just oh, that was all right, and then it just vanished. But some of the reviews said it was the best Halo game ever, which it isn't.
I look at Halo 4 reviews like I look at Final Fantasy 13 reviews, where they just said the game was great, and then they waited till the
Well, I mean,
people.
by the standards that like reviewers look for, which is that it's functional. I mean, yeah, by those standards, yeah, sure, for sure. But when you look into some other elements of it, there are some troubles. I think for me, the thing that sticks out the most is that every like fifth encounter in this game sucks. The game is, I think, for a Halo, extremely linear. Way, 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 way more so than any other Halo I remember. Like
Yeah.
all of the combat is like very straightforward down a corridor. You don't have a lot of options for how you're going to approach things. It's a little Call of Duty like in that way.
Mhm. Mhm.
You can take that or leave that, but some of the encounters because of that are super annoying. Specifically, anything involving the new race, the Forerunners.
The
They're like
Prometheans.
the Prometheans. Yes, they're these
Yeah.
Metroid Prime hunters looking robots that zip around the environment. And the ones that really piss me off the most are these little sentinel droids that some of the Promethean knights will summon, and they just kind of
Mhm.
hover around their heads. And they move so fast that, like, if you use, the Halo weapons that are fun to use, like, say, the assault rifle or the battle rifle or pretty much any of the marine stuff, maybe a Covenant carbine if you're feeling nasty, you know, you can't freaking hit those things with those. Like, you could waste your entire ammo stock of an assault rifle, all 224 rounds, trying to hit that thing and not even making a dent. So you always have to make sure you get really slow firing, long range sniper rifle type equipment to take them out. Kind of bogs down the battles. Like sometimes I'll be like, oh shoot, I don't have the right weapon, so I have to run backwards for a while and be like, did any of these robots drop like a little sniper rifle type thing? And oh good, one did, and then I run back, and it really drags out some of these battles.
You're playing with controller, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So I don't really like that. And while I'm mentioning the guns, the Prometheans have their own guns, which all look kind of neat, but they're basically just marine weapons, but now they shoot like robot stuff. So like you have a machine gun, but it's like a robot machine gun, and you have like a pistol, but it's like a robot pistol. It's not like the Covenant, who have a nice array of interesting weapons, some of which I don't ever want to use, but they're still cool. These weapons are just like, I don't know, really, they don't stick out very well. I think that whole extra race they threw in this game is overall pretty bungled. Anytime they show up, I am annoyed and I don't want to play the game. Because they're not fun annoying, they're just annoying. They're
Right.
just irritating.
Yeah.
So, you seem to agree with me when we talked about it yesterday, Setzer.
Yeah, I think that if you look back at Halo, 1, 2, and 3, there's two kinds of weapons, human weapons and Covenant weapons. And there are two types of enemies, Covenant and Flood. And I think that that's, great variety. You've got the hit scan, human weapons, a little more down to earth. And you've got the Covenant weapons that are projectile based and a little more fantastical, stuff like the Needler, one of my favorites.
Yeah, who doesn't love the Needler? What a creative
Yeah,
weapon.
yeah. And, when you look at the enemies, the Covenant, they've got this kind of religious caste system for all these species, so they each have, different tactics and they play off each other. The Flood, they try to rush you, but they've also got, you know, they retain their weapons from when they were alive, so they've got a little ranged in there. And those encourage you to play in different ways. But like you said, the Promethean weapons don't really stand out. Like they're not terrible, but they're just kind of like,
They're
I don't
there.
think anybody is clamoring for them to be added to Infinite, right?
No, certainly not.
Yeah, I mean they do have some Promethean style weapons, but they're not the ones from Halo 4.
No.
And the Promethean enemies in Halo 4, they force you to fight a different way. That's a good idea, but it's kind of not, I mean, like you said, you're playing with a controller and you're trying to hit this like fast moving target. That's kind of not really Halo.
No, it's not. It's just not fun to play. It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Or the knights that teleport around,
yeah,
that's extremely annoying.
yes, more annoying than like clever. The Flood, I liked. Like, I mean,
Yeah,
certainly the
yeah.
Flood can be annoying, but a lot of that stuff worked really well for what they are. I don't think
Hmm.
anything about the Promethean Knights really works very well. Um,
Yeah.
their design doesn't even work really well, but that's neither here nor there. Well, it is here nor there, but whatever.
Well, I
It's been
mean, we are
discussed.
talking about Halo 4,
Yes,
so
it's true. We are talking about Halo 4. There's probably never a better time. The other thing about the game that really jumps out is me not being like hugely a fan. I really don't like the story. I don't like
hmm
how it's presented. The game
hmm
has a really strong whiff of the end of the Xbox 360 and PS3 era. For better and for worse, I really do like that era of games. But I don't know that it works well for Halo. Because again, those games back then were very straightforward. They told their
hmm
story almost exclusively through big cinematic set pieces and cutscenes. You know, not really
hmm
what I think of when I think of Halo. Not that I'm a huge Halo guy, but it's not what I think of. So I don't like that, and I just think the dialogue is awful. I think the characters almost universally suck. I've never really thought of Halo as being a game that has like characters, like great characters, anyways. To
Yeah,
me,
yeah,
like Chief is like a cipher for you to experience this galactic conflict.
yeah.
I think that works really well. But the
And
soldiers
people
that,
remember Cortana because she's sassy, and
yes,
funny.
yeah. But the soldiers around you, whatever. Like
Yeah.
I don't care. So this
Sergeant
game
Johnson.
has, yeah, he's fine. But I mean,
Yeah.
it's whatever. So this game has a lot of new characters. It has some new Marine types. It's been 4 years since the events of Halo 3. And so now there's this new kind of bitchy old man captain who is
Hmm.
just like this typical Michael Bay character who's like, he's this veteran military presence that is going to ignore wisdom and logic
And
because he's
he's a
going to do
raging
things.
equal to the protagonist.
Yes, he's
Yeah.
just gonna do things the way that he's always done them. Well, we're not gonna chase that alien because you, Master Chief, who saved the entire universe, told me to. We're gonna go back home. You know, he's that kind of guy, and he sucks. And then you have his little friend, who is just kind of like the typical, like in a Michael Bay movie, he'd have the assistant who's like, "Well, actually, I think the protagonist is on the right side, and I'm gonna do something on
Hmm.
the sly to help him." And by on
Yeah.
the sly, I mean he gives you this giant gunship that for some reason nobody bats an eye at you flying out of uh, the Marines headquarters. But anyways, so I think that story, all the stuff with the Marines is terrible. You have the new race, the Prometheans, led by this guy called the Didact, who keeps yammering about holding the mantle of responsibility for the galaxy and how humanity isn't equipped to hold that mantle of responsibility. And
Hmm.
you know, he's ugly as shit. Like he's just
Yeah.
weird looking.
He's
I
a
don't.
Metroid alien.
Well, yeah, and like there's a scene like where he like gets really involved, and again, it just didn't feel like a Halo scene. It felt like something I'd see in
Yeah.
well, like an Uncharted game, maybe. Like he's just way too developed and crappy
Hmm.
for a Halo game. And then you have all the stuff with Cortana. So Cortana is rampancy, right?
Yeah. Rampant.
Okay, yeah, she's going rampant because she's an AI, and after 8 years, she starts to think herself to death, and so she's doing all of that. Um, and I don't really have any fond feelings for Cortana. So this storyline, I mean, it's probably the most functional of any of them.
Hmm.
But I do mostly find it grating. I think her dialogue is irritating, and I think Chief talks way too much,
Yeah.
in a way that is very distracting to me because I've never thought of him as being like, again, he's not really a character, he's a cipher. And so when he
Yeah.
talks, it's like, oh, wait a minute, I'm playing a video game. Shit, this
Didn't he
guy
say
is.
only like 3 words or so in the original trilogy?
I mean, he
No,
says words.
yeah, he talks. He's not a silent protagonist,
Oh,
but
my
it's
bad.
few and far between, and it's generally pretty laconic. Like it's
It's very logical. It's
yeah,
straightforward. In
functional.
this game, sometimes he'll like try and like sometimes he'll get a little like quippy with Cortana.
Hmm.
You know, they'll have
Hmm.
a little back and forth, which absolutely don't want. I mean, Chief was like basically a child soldier. I assume any
Yeah.
humor was trained out of him in the Spartan program. But all that to say, I have enjoyed my time with the game, kind of. I will be playing Halo 5 because I've heard that's bad. And I want to know. I've always wanted to know. So
Yeah, you got to report back
please
to
look
Setzer.
forward to
You
that.
can't play
Yeah.
it.
Yes, you
Yeah.
cannot play it
Five's
because
the
they
one
will
I
never
haven't
release
played.
it on PC. And then, it's funny, it all started as I was actually going to play Reach because I
Hmm.
just, for some reason, was craving it. I don't know why.
Hmm.
You didn't want to pay
Um,
$20 for a helmet.
well, Reach is in the Master Chief Collection.
No, I
So
know.
I know what you're doing, but I was like, you know what? I've played Reach before. Let's just try something new. And here I am, trying something new. So anyways, speaking of new, I also tried Halo Infinite. Per Setzer's uh, cautious recommendations.
Hmm. Fair.
Uh, um, so I like the game. I
Hmm.
think the game plays real good. I think uh, shooting pretty good. Movement overall pretty good. I have some qualms with them modernizing some elements. I could do without the ability to aim down sights. Kind of. It's not really an aim down sights, but it's like it.
Yeah.
I could do without that. I could do without sprinting, but I'm probably alone on that. I think it's pretty standard these days, so I'll just whatever. But when you're not playing the game, let's say you finish a game and you get to that screen with the experience bar that shows you uh, how many experience points you gained per match.
Hmm.
That makes you feel kind of the same way like when you go to Golden Corral and you like load up a plate full of delicious looking food and then you eat it and you finish the plate and you're just like just kind of feel gross, kind of empty
Yeah.
inside a little bit. It's like,
Hmm.
oh, like what have I just done? Like I just spent 20 minutes playing Oddball, and now
Yeah.
I have the screen. It's like, oh, you got 100 experience points, and then you get to the screen that's like, here's your weekly challenges. What'd you get from your weekly challenges? And there's all these little things that you can feel. You can feel the little social psychologist man behind the scenes prodding you. Um,
Yeah. Poking at your
it's
brain.
right. It's not a good feeling. Um, and I probably over that weekend and a little bit this week, probably played like 4 to 5 hours. I got to
Hmm.
level two. Um,
Hmm.
they even start you at level 0, which I just thought
Yep.
was fucking fascinating that they would
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah.
But they do. I think what really bothered me is when I went into the screen because it would show me that I unlocked stuff. I could see how many different things I could unlock. Like there's so much to customize and mess with, and you have so little access to any of it
Hmm.
that it it just I mean it's not I really wouldn't care in most games. I'm not the kind of person who spends a lot of time customizing. But I
Hmm.
did feel a little bit like I was being had by the
Yeah.
developers. And it's why I haven't played again since, because it just makes me feel weird.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that's a good way to put it. Is even if you're not the kind of person who really cares a lot about customizing, I'm not. I'm butthurt that my beloved EVA helmet is, $10. But what can you do?
Pay $20.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Even if you're not into that, it does just kind of feel, the number of times they shove it down your throat. Like you have to watch the you know, 30-second highlight reel of all the guys on your team and how cool they
Yes,
look.
every time. Yeah, and they show their little
Yeah, yeah,
nameplate. They have their own special pose. You got
yeah.
different helmets. Like you got 4 gray samurais, all
Hmm.
gray. Every one of them gray. It's-
Yeah, well, you
oh,
can't change the samurai armor's color without
I
paying.
know. God,
Unless you want to look like
it's so
Pepsi Man.
it's so
Which I
ridiculous.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just off-putting. I've played some more Infinite this week myself. I actually, if you'll permit a digression here, I actually bought an Xbox Series X controller.
Ooh.
Yeah, to try playing Infinite with the controller. My buddy Phil, he had one, and he is quite good at Halo. At least compared to me, who's quite bad at Halo. But he was like, "Yeah, man, you got to try you got to try the Xbox controller on this thing, because the aim assist is so insane." So I've been meaning to get an Xbox controller for a while anyway, just for like Elden Ring and stuff. So I went and picked one up, and they didn't have black, even though the website said they did. The GameStop website said they had 5
Hmm.
black controllers. They had 1 white, 1 aqua blue, and 3 lime green.
About lime green,
Uh,
right? Eh?
no, I got white.
Aw.
But yeah, the aim assist in Halo Infinite for controller is so insane. I would say that overall, switching to controller hasn't affected my, like, match performance, but the game feels totally different if you're playing with controller versus mouse and keyboard or vice
Well,
versa.
I've seen stats that say like high-end controllers do better than high-end keyboards in Halo Infinite, which
Yeah,
is
yeah,
crazy for a shooter for that to be the case.
yeah. I mean, that's how much they've cranked the aim assist and like certain weapons. I would say are almost unusable with mouse and keyboard, but they're very usable with the
They want you to
controller.
feel good when you play the game, so you'll spend money on the game.
Right. And I think, you know, what it comes down to is they got this idea of like, we're going to have, controller and mouse and keyboard crossplay, and we're going to balance, around that. But they balanced around controller, so the game just feels kind of funky with mouse and keyboard.
Yeah, I think they
Um,
should mix the crossplay. I think the forced
yeah.
crossplay, I think it's bad. I think it just the matches are already messed up because nobody's playing the objective ever. But I think
Hmm.
the crossplay also makes it worse.
Hmm.
Well, yeah, because if they didn't like jack up the aim assist, it'd be like shooting fish in
Fish
a
in a
barrel for
barrel.
PC
Yeah.
players. So
Yeah.
they did what they had to do, but that seems like at the sacrifice of quality on the PC side.
No.
Yeah.
Can I add one other thing I like before we
Mhm.
inevitably trash elements of this game?
Yeah.
I am very happy that of all the things they ditched from Halo Past, uh, that they ditched the stuff from Reach. I never liked the loadout stuff. You know what I'm talking about? Like the
Yeah.
abilities,
Yeah.
like you know, sprinting was like an ability or jetpack or
Hmm.
like
And you
shield.
went
Like,
into the match with it.
yeah, hated that
Yeah.
stuff. Not a fan. So I was very happy that they did get rid of that completely. Don't know why they got rid of dual wielding. Is there a good reason for that?
Well, first, a lot of the ability stuff is just power ups you pick up on the map, which I really
Yes,
like.
that's better. Yes.
Yeah, as opposed to like starting the game and that's your character, like
Mhm.
Overwatch or whatever.
Yeah,
Where it's
or
like you
Call of
you
Duty.
start the game and you're already in an advantage against certain people.
Well, it was like a Call of
Uh,
Duty thing because that was like, loadouts. Everyone have a loadout. Not a fan.
right, me neither. Yeah, I mean, I like having the equipment that you find in the match as opposed to you pick it, and if you pick wrong, then you're screwed, right?
Hmm. Yeah. All this to say, fuck this game. This game is like so disgusting in every facet. The way
Yeah,
that they have tuned this game so finely to try and make you spend money. And I don't want to hear ever again, I don't ever want to read some asshole on the internet going, well, it's a free to play game, man. They gotta
it's
fund
the
their
beta.
servers. Like, okay, so do you go to the casino and see somebody who's like basically bankrupted themselves and still putting coin after coin into the slots and go, well, I mean, it's a casino, man. It's free to enter. You gotta pay for it somehow. Like, you're just like, yeah, it's free to play because they know that they're gonna get these idiots, for lack of a better
Yeah,
word,
suckers.
There
who
is
are
no
gonna
better
pay
word.
hundreds of dollars for this stuff. Because make no
Hmm.
mistake, to get the content that's in this game, it would cost hundreds of dollars.
Yeah,
You know?
someone did the math, and to buy all of the data mined store bundles, it's $1,000.
Yeah. And like, okay, it's a free to play game. Maybe it shouldn't be. Maybe they should have. If they need that much money, man, just make it a $60 game. People are gonna buy it anyways. What else are you gonna play on your Xbox? Come on, it's just ridiculous. I hate it, and I hate that every update about this game from the developers is not about improving the game. Because make no mistake, there are things that need to be improved. The melee in this
Mhm.
game is broken. It
Yeah,
is flat out broken. It has
melee, radar.
never felt worse in any game I've ever played. Like,
Yeah.
clicking down that stick feels like you were just like setting yourself up to be shot in the face. Like, it
Hmm.
is bad. But every update about this game is that jackass on Twitter going, well, we're gonna tweak the experience point ratio. So now when you play your first game, you get 600 experience points, and then your second one you get 300, and then your third one you get 200. It's all about tweaking this freaking battle pass, which has such a parasitic effect on the rest of the game. Like, I
Yeah.
don't, dude, put a Slayer playlist in the game. It's gonna take you 2 weeks to do that. Stop playing with the battle pass and just put Slayer in the game. Make
No,
it
it's
so you
gonna
can
take a month
choose.
for the Slayer playlist.
Oh, but our UI, we built our UI in such a way, like, well, then you, okay, then if you
Yeah.
did that, then how are you working at one of the, like, how are you working for Microsoft?
Well, they just don't want to tell you the real reason is we want to bilk people for as much money as possible before we put the mode
You
people
just
want
have to
in.
have a reading of comprehension above a third grader to know that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
But you see people defend them like they don't
Yes,
understand.
because people are like, well, it feels good. I feel good when I'm playing it. Whatever. I don't pay money for it. Yeah, but it's just, and okay, honest. If you can tell me honest, you look me in the eyes and tell me that the battle pass does not affect you because you don't pay anything, and you just play the game for free. If you can tell me the battle pass doesn't affect your experience with a straight face, I would be impressed because there's just no two ways about it. That the battle pass has changed the way that people play the game. They're playing for their challenges. They could give a shit all about the capture the flag objective you're playing for. Like, they just want to get like 3 kills with that crappy gun that nobody wants to use, the little stapler gun.
Hmm.
What's that one called?
Skewer?
No, that one's not that
Disruptor?
bad. There's a lot of guns that have names that are interchangeable to me.
The
It's
Mangler?
a little, yes, the Mangler, a little
I
staple
like the
gun.
Mangler.
Do you? I
Yeah.
always feel like I'm shooting staples at the guy.
The old club.
Yeah, it is the old club from Resident Evil. Yes.
No, GoldenEye.
Oh well, we in Resident Evil 4, you told me that the little Uzi was the club.
I always use the shitty gun as I call it, the club. So that's probably where you're getting that from.
Anyways, I don't know that I'm going to play any more of this multiplayer. I think they've got a lot of work to do, and I really don't like feeling built by what I'm
Mhm.
playing, which is generally why I don't play multiplayer games anymore because they've all kind of gone this route. Um, but I was telling Derek, as much as I hate Fortnite, at least when I played Fortnite, I didn't feel like I really didn't feel like the battle pass was affecting me. It's probably the nature of the game. You're playing for yourself,
Mhm.
so whatever.
Mhm.
But this game, I just can't. You can't not think about it. It's always in your face. It's
Yeah, I
always
mean, when
right
you when
there.
you open up the scoreboard, okay, and a 4v4 match looks like a big team battle match because it lists all the people who left to play a different match.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's affecting everybody.
yeah. And
And you can
the
argue
only
that has more to do with the playlists than it does the battle pass and challenge system. But just yesterday, the community manager came out and said, "Oh, we can't just flip the switch and add the Slayer playlist because that has implications for the battle pass and progression and all that shit. So it's affecting you.
I, I will say the worst argument I've seen, besides the fact that it's free, is I've seen people say about the battle pass, like, well, what do you want you to get so much experience points you finish in a month? Then what are you gonna do? Like, shoot, I don't know. I guess I play the game, right?
Yeah, I'll
Like,
play the game having fun.
isn't that what we like do? Isn't that what we like aspire to do? Is have fun when we play a game? Like, I used to play Smash Bros. Melee every weekend with Derek and a friend, and there was at no point like, well, Derek, if we play for 100 hours, we're gonna get like extra bonus special stage. We just
Yeah,
played it because we liked the game. I just like
yeah,
the idea that you're playing to get through this battle pass like a job,
like a
and then at the end
slog.
of it,
Yeah,
you're
you're
gonna be
free.
like, at the end of it, what am I gonna do? I
Yeah,
guess I just can't play anymore. There's nothing to play for. Well, then why were you playing to begin with?
yeah, yeah.
Like at that rate, just play Cookie Clicker.
Well, heck, even like you sticking to the same franchise, I played a lot of like Halo 3, and there wasn't really
Mhm.
any big end goal for that. Just like went online, have fun, get mad at like kids
Well, I
killing you.
think you had ranks, but it wasn't like
But yeah, but
you didn't feel like. I mean, your rank wasn't the be all end all. It wasn't like you were just, oh
Mhm.
god, I gotta rank up, gotta rank up. It was like I'm playing the game. Oh, I ranked up. Oh, I get,
no, I mean
you know,
ostensibly your gameplay experience doesn't change that much. It's the
no,
skill level
no,
of the
no, no,
people you're playing with.
no. And it really wouldn't here. Like, I think if this game were released, this multiplayer were released as part of the $60 package, and there's no battle pass, I think this would be a totally different conversation. I think
Yeah, yeah.
it would be extremely positive because this is a very fun to play shooter
Mhm.
for the most part. It's
Mhm.
just all the stuff around it makes it a lot less fun. And
Yeah.
so
Modern gaming,
that's
folks.
kind of a problem. That's kind
Thank
of a
you,
problem.
Fortnite. Thank you, Apex.
Yeah,
Mhm.
this battle, I just don't get the battle pass culture. I don't get it. Like, you're like, don't you have a job? Why do
Yeah.
you want your game to feel like a job? I pay $10 and I don't even get the stuff guaranteed. I pay $10 and now I have to play, for what
100 hours
freaking
plus.
600 hours to get
Yeah.
to get all this stuff, and I don't even get like all the stuff that was promised to begin with because
And stuff that
it's
used to be free, by the way, in old
yes,
Mhm.
Halos.
yes, 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 yes. It is. I blame Street Fighter 4, Derek, because that game you had to
How?
buy the cosmetics. You had to buy the alternate
You had to
outfits.
buy costumes. So what?
Yeah. How is that different?
Shit fighter.
I
they
love
never had
Street Fighter
alternate.
4.
They never had alternate costumes in Street Fighter before. That's new to the
Street Fighter 4
franchise.
is one of the most technically sound games ever made. I'm not saying anything bad about Street Fighter 4. I'm saying that the microtransaction stuff there was
This is different.
stupid.
is different.
It is a little different, but I mean, at the end of the
Because
day, you were still buying to put a
alternate
different outfit on
outfits were
Ryu.
not part of Street Fighter before that. I didn't buy that shit either, but I'm just saying, like,
Okay, all
and also it
right.
didn't impact the game at all. Like, I never bought any alternate outfits ever, and
No, of course not, because you
so
weren't a chump.
right, so I don't view that as the same sort of thing.
Hey, you can
This
buy
is
like
like,
$20 weapon skins in this game.
but I mean,
Yeah.
I know for a fact that Halo 3, like, I was able to make my own logo and shit.
And we didn't even
Mhm.
mention
So
that some of the stuff you buy, you can only use on like I think all the stuff you can only use on like one armor set, right? So it's like
Yeah.
if you decide
Yeah.
at some point that you want to use a different armor set, then I guess you're gonna have to pay another $20, huh? Get another whatever doohickey to put
Paint.
on your yeah.
Yeah, one thing that is particularly
Game.
egregious, I don't know if you've noticed this, at level like way, way late in the battle pass, I want to say like level 90 or something like that, they give you an item that you can equip on any of your armors, right? No,
Oh
no
yeah.
care about their, but it's called like Flames of Judgment or something.
Okay.
And every time
Oh yes.
you
You
kill
told me about
someone,
this one.
yeah,
Yeah.
every time you kill someone with this item equipped, a obnoxious flaming skull erupts from their body, and it causes your screen to flash bright white.
You mean like
Um,
your screen or their screen? Like
my
the person you
screen.
killed?
If they shoot me, okay, my screen blinds me. So the
That's
person who dies gets a flashbang thrown in their face.
has this
It's
happened to
absurd.
you yet?
Yes, because people pay. You can pay $200 to instantly finish the battle pass.
Oh. Wait, how much?
200.
Are you serious?
Yeah, because it's $2 per level.
What? That's unbelievable.
Yeah, so people pay $200 and or 210 because you got to pay for the pass too, right? And that gives them the privilege of throwing flashbangs in people's offices. You know,
Nice.
it's ridiculous. It pisses me off to no end.
video games have been ruined.
Yeah. Plus, they're already selling silly Rick and Morty items. Like you can pay $10 to have a brace of pineapples on your armor.
I don't understand. Is that I haven't watched since season 3. Is that a new thing, Derek?
I think he just means the style of humor.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Reddit,
Oh,
Rick and
I thought you
Morty
meant
kind of
literal,
stuff.
like Rick and Morty. Okay.
No, not like a franchise IP crossover, but just kind of like
Well, that will
random,
come.
wacky.
You
Oh,
give
I'm
it time.
sure. I'm sure.
The Ghostbusters Afterlife kit. You make your Warthog look like an Ecto 1.
Make the Sentinel beam look like a proton pack.
Oh, oh man.
Yep.
Rolling in the dough.
Yep.
Bill Murray can afford another yacht.
Bill Murray AI companion.
Oh, can you imagine?
Hired old Bill Murray talking about killing sprees and capture the flag.
Well, I think for the sake of my sobriety, maybe we should stop talking about Halo.
I'm gonna throw one more thing
I'm at a
out here.
risk of breaking out the whiskey, and it's only 1:00.
I'm gonna say this is my prediction for the Halo Infinite campaign.
Yes,
That comes out in a couple days.
it does.
I'm gonna say the campaign gameplay will be solid, but fans will notice that the sandbox is limited, not a lot of weapons and vehicles, and not a lot of enemy variety. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
the open world is gonna be lifeless and forgettable and will add nothing of value to the Halo formula.
Sounds like an open
Mhm.
world.
The story, and I've been leaked on this, but the story is going to be a disaster.
Yeah, I feel like that was a given.
Yeah, I mean after Halo 4 and 5,
343
you don't need to know, you don't need a leak to know that the story is going to be
It's
a mess.
it's just fan fiction at this point.
Yeah, but I think that that is going to
Oh, sorry,
create,
not fan fiction, because the people who make the game don't like Halo. So I
yeah,
forgot about that.
self-admittedly, we don't like Halo. But I think that that is going to drive a lot of negative press. And I think the reason multiplayer was released free and early is because they thought free Halo would be a slam dunk and they could get a lot of goodwill and they could just ride that through the campaign launch cycle. And now, when that is not happening, you see these guys throwing hissy fits on Reddit and Twitter. So
Yeah.
that to me says, they're worried about the campaign again. So
I will let you know. I'm probably not going to play it when it comes out because now
yeah.
I'm committed to torturing myself with Halo 5.
Mhm.
but after I finish that, I will give it a shotsy watsy, and I'll let you know.
Yeah, I mean, I have a Game Pass free trial that came with
Oh
this
yeah,
controller,
yeah.
so I'll
Oh, you
probably
should.
play Infinite
You should.
Campaign on
You
launch day,
should give it a
but
try.
yeah.
And you can play hundreds of other great games available on Game Pass,
Hmm.
such as Final Fantasy X-2.
That is
Ori and the
32.
Dark Forest.
Hey, it's Blind Forest. And it is good.
Whatever.
And Forza Horizon 5.
Forza Horizon 5 is very good.
Hey,
played that.
Lortza.
I've played that a lot, actually.
What
It's
if
quite
you
good.
had a Warthog in Forza? Huh?
They had that already,
Yeah.
but remember, it was a controversy because you couldn't actually race with it. You
Oh,
can
well,
only
what's the
look
point?
at it.
What's the
Well,
point then?
because I told you, a lot of the people play that game just like to jerk off the cars, so you can
Oh.
get in the Warthog and look at the leather on the seat, all that stuff.
Okay, can't relate.
No, I've never jerked off to a car
What about a truck?
or ever.
All right, we better get started on news here. Setzer, what's going on?
Well, first things first this week, EA's BioWare darling put out a statement about their future. A brief reassurance that they are, in fact, working on a Dragon Age game. That's right. 6 years after work began and 3 years after it was first announced, Dragon Age 4 remains in development, everyone.
We swear we come back every other year with concept art. We occasionally show that the voice actors are recording lines. Could be for nothing, but we like to show it. I don't know why you'd even say anything at this point. Like, you got to show or just leave it alone, you know?
Shut up
Yes.
or shut up.
Yes. Like, you can only. It's like with the new Mass Effects. Like, I don't want to hear about it until you got something to show. Like on
Oh, we haven't.
In7 day, they like released like, oh, you check out this, and it's just like a poster of like a generic Mass Effect poster. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
that showed us nothing. Thank you.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear about Dragon Age ever again until they're like, well, it's coming out this year or next
Yeah.
year
I
or
think
Until they
whatever.
say
would-
it's coming out in 2 months. Right.
I imagine
Like-
they feel like they have to show it. They have to look perfect when they show it because
Keep the
they're
flame
on
alive.
such a short leash.
Like I know, like, you know, my wife gets excited because they're so dry for content whenever they even show like concept art. Like, oh, look at this. I guess that's how desperate these people are for content. They care about concept art. So like, you got to do something here.
Yeah. It just, it just comes off as so pathetic.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, do we want to take bets on when this game is gonna come out? 2023 or 2024?
Well, my
Uh,
bet. I mean, I think I predicted a while ago that it'd be 2022, which is no longer. I would bet it's
I
not
think
going to happen now.
2023 feels
Safer.
Well, what
possible.
I think is that in January or February, it'll be quote unquote leaked that there's a
Mm.
Dragon Age like Master Chief collection or whatever the hell, like the equivalent for the Mass Effect collection for Dragon Age.
Ah, yes.
Oh yeah.
And that'll come out in
Legendary.
in June to get people talking, and then
Mhm.
2023 will be the Dragon Age Infinite or whatever. So
I can see it.
that's where I think it's gonna go, but we'll see. Because I mean, I think that's like free money.
Mm.
Like, as I said, my wife's a big Dragon Age fan. That's a guaranteed purchase if they make that, and I think that's the case for a lot of Dragon Age fans. So why leave that money on the table? You know.
Well, that first game would need a lot of a makeover.
No
I
more
mean,
Marilyn Manson in the soundtrack.
That's true. They have to change everything.
Yeah.
It is to date the ugliest game I have ever played. Ugliest by far.
I like that the blood splatters everywhere. That's pretty cool. It looks ridiculous.
The game looks ridiculous.
Like all over their face, and they don't even notice.
Well, like, yeah, you're in a cutscene and you see a guy. It looks like he went through like he got like PETA through paint on him, and he's just chatting. Like, dude, you've got blood all over you. I don't know. I've always found that charming.
Well, speaking of corporate shenanigans, Eurogamer's Tom Phillips writes that Take-Two, the publisher behind games like Grand Theft Auto, Basketball, and probably some other stuff,
Wrestle.
filed a trademark dispute against recent co-op puzzle game It Takes Two. The article enumerates some of Take-Two's other neurotic legal claims, including Star Rocks, a Beijing company's trademark, Max Fane, a clothing brand, Think Like a Rock Star, a brand behind music books for live performances, and Rockstar Axe Throwing, a Florida-based axe throwing company.
So are they just cool with Rockstar Energy drink? Is it like,
Who
well, we'll let
knows?
them?
Maybe
Pick
Pepsi's
your
too big a
battles.
fish. Yeah.
Yeah. This is like, did Take-Two need any more bad PR this year? Like, you
Well,
take.
they haven't gone out off after the Disney company and Mary Kate and Ashley Olsen for their movie It Takes Two.
Oh, that's true. They
Oh,
haven't.
yeah.
Maybe that movie should go after the game It Takes Two, since I get them confused all the time.
Yeah, they're very similar.
They are very similar. Yeah, it's kind of strange because like I was reading into this and it was like they're not preventing the sale of It Takes Two or anything. It's just they don't want them to be able to like trademark the name. I don't know. It's just strange. Like I don't know. It just seems very frivolous.
Like I said, neurotic.
Yes, they should be made fun of for this. This is stupid. Like, like it's a waste of money from their perspective, and like it does nothing. But I don't know. It just put limits on things that don't need limits. And It Takes Two is one of the best games of the year. Take Two hasn't released a game that good in a long time,
Yes, I agree.
except for RDR2, I suppose. But
Oh, that's right. Well, come on. I mean,
outside of that,
that barely counts. That's like a.
well, who knew like
I don't want to
Rockstar
talk
was
about
such a contentious name? Like, so do they go after every song that has like the word Rockstar in it? They're like, hey,
That Nickelback song.
oh, that's true. I want to be a big rock star. Hey,
Yeah.
you're not gonna be
Whoa.
making Grand Theft Auto.
I want to be a big musician.
I want to be a big meth head. You can use that instead? No? Okay.
Mm.
Shameful behavior from a big studio, but as expected, I suppose.
Yeah. I was about to say, I don't think big studios have any shame left, so.
No, not at all.
Verge's Tom Warren writes that 20% of Xbox Cloud gaming users play exclusively with touch controls, and certain games like Hades or Yakuza have audiences
How do
that are
people play
30%.
Hades with touch controls?
Yeah, 30% touch controls. 30% of Hades players play with touch controls.
I read that and I was just flummoxed. Like, how do you play Hades with touch
Yeah.
controls? It'd be so
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah.
I know new studies come out that said 20% of Xbox Cloud players need to get EMP sent to them. Like touch controls for this sounds terrible.
Yeah.
The only good use of touch control I've ever seen was in Crazy Taxi for the iPhone. I could actually play that pretty well. But other than that, I think touch controls are like a blight on gaming. They're
I
not.
guess I could see Yakuza. I mean, it's, a turn-based game,
Well,
but
yes, for like a turn-based JRPG like Yakuza, I think that would be okay.
I used the touch controls on because I wanted to try out the Xbox Cloud game, and I
Mhm.
did it with Slay the Spire, which is
Mm.
Card game.
turn-based
So
card game, right? So you'd think it would be good for that. I thought it was miserable. Like, it was terrible.
well, whenever I
Uh,
try touch controls with like an emulator, because you think like old Final Fantasies would be playable with a touch control, it sucks every time. It's just not a fun way to play games.
No, I agree. I'm not down with it. Hey, if it's what you got, I mean, I'm certainly not
Yeah.
going to lug a controller around with me. So sure, I just don't know how anybody can play Hades like that.
I don't
Yeah.
know. I'm with you. Like I think the people that carry those weird like controller adapters for their phones are even weirder than people that play with the touchscreen. But yeah, like
Yeah.
Hades with a touch, it just seems terrible.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just incomprehensible to me.
But I mean, people. I don't know. I guess I don't have to agree with the way people play games all the time.
Yeah.
No,
Well, no, but I just was shocked. It's like,
it is
how are
shocking.
these
I
people
mean, it is
enjoying the game?
20% of people playing cloud games, so it's a percentage of a percentage, but
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
is not a non-negligible number, to be
No,
sure.
that's a fair amount.
Yeah.
I mean, good for them, I guess, but I can't imagine it.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
used to see
Yeah.
kids back when, before Fortnite was taken off the App Store. I used to see kids at the school playing Fortnite on their phones, and I couldn't even wrap my head around that. It seemed very
Fellas,
hard to
we might be
control.
out of touch with how people play games.
Well, we are.
Yeah.
We know that, but it doesn't feel good to be reminded.
No, it doesn't. Feels bad, man.
Well, speaking of newfangled ways to play games, Jason Schreier of Bloomberg writes that Sony is apparently planning their own competitor to Microsoft's Xbox Game Pass, codenamed
Good.
Spartacus. The service will allow PS4
I
and
love you,
PS5
Spartacus.
owners to play a library of new and classic games via subscription, in addition to merging Sony's existing PlayStation Plus and PlayStation Now subscription services. Interestingly, the service will be offered in 3 tiers: Tier 1 including PlayStation Plus, Tier 2 including PS4 and quote, eventually PS5 games, and Tier 3 including game streaming services and classic games. What's your read on that? What's your read on that?
My read is that they know that the people that want classic games are the ones that are willing to pay for it, so they're
Mhm.
I liked
putting it
it
behind the
until you
highest tier.
mentioned the tiers.
Yeah.
It just makes things complicated.
Because like the first thing I'm like, the only way I want a service like this is if they include classic games. Like, well, it's there. You got to pay $50 a month, but you can play PS1 games on your PS5 now. They know the cows are, so to speak. Know who to milk. I kind of always felt that Game Pass or PlayStation Now was the equivalent of Game Pass already. So I mean, it is like you can
No.
download PS4 games.
Oh, can you? Oh, I didn't know
Yes.
you could do that.
Yeah, and
Well,
they just don't have
but
PS5
they don't
games.
have a lot of. Well, they just don't have a lot of modern releases. You don't have the day and date stuff.
They got a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
I'm
but
one of
not
the
day
few
and date.
not day and date. That's the one difference. But they
That is
have
a big. That is a big difference.
that is a big difference, and that would be a good change for Spartacus because it would make me play a bunch of PlayStation first parties I have no interest in playing.
What a great name! I hope they
Yeah.
name it Spartacus.
Because they're like, well, people like God of War. Spartacus sounds kind of like a God of War thing. Yeah, I mean, I would want to see the prices. I'm guessing like the tier I would want, the classic game tier is probably like $15 a month, the equivalent of Game Pass Ultimate.
Yeah, maybe it'll be 5, 10, 15.
Yeah, I hope so. That would be great. I would be okay with paying $15 a month for PS2, PS1 stuff because I am an idiot. But that's what I want to play. So I think more options to play old stuff is good. It's not ideal because I think obviously just full backwards compatibility. You own a PS3 disc, you put it in, and it plays would be great, but that's not realistic. So I'll take what I can get.
Yeah, what stood out to me was Sony wanting to get into like cloud game streaming. This is the company that couldn't figure out how to do name changes for like what, 15 years?
And they still can't get it right.
Well, yeah, because they've designed their system like an idiot.
On the subject of Microsoft, their recently acquired darling Bethesda Softworks posted a video to YouTube this week featuring everyone's favorite purveyor of sweet little lies, extolling the inevitable magic of the studio's next game, Starfield. I gotta ask, boys, did this 7 minutes of heaven convince you to pre-order Starfield or maybe buy another copy of Skyrim?
No.
I have Game Pass. I'll play Starfield when it comes.
I have not seen anything that suggests to me that Starfield's anything but Skyrim in space.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. I think Starfield is probably one of the biggest enigmas in video games for me right now. Just
Well,
because it's been 10 years since Skyrim, and I guess when did Fallout 4 come out? 2013, 15,
Because
2015.
2013 was. Oh wow, 2015 really?
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
it's been 6 years, and Fallout
Well,
4
they haven't
was
done anything in a while.
yeah. And Fallout 4 was criticized as being behind the times when it released.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, yeah.
So we'll
And it
see.
was.
Like, yeah, I mean, there's 76, but that was handled by the Texas studio. What have they been up to up there in Maryland? Are they gonna catch up? Todd's already warning us not to expect ladders in the game. So
Yeah, I bet be it'll be a better looking, still pretty janky game. Is my
well,
suspicion.
they're asking people to get excited for a game we know nothing about still.
Mhm,
Something that's
mhm.
supposedly releasing next year. So I find it impossible to care about.
They know they can get away with the jank because at this point, the people who love those games consider that to be part of what they love. I think. So, I mean, what impetus is there for them to change?
Well, I'd hope there's more to it than this Skyrim in space.
Well, I don't know. That's kind of what they make, isn't it? Like,
I suppose, but
and they haven't. There's only been one Skyrim since Skyrim, and it was Fallout. So, I mean,
And that
it's
was,
not like
post-apoc Skyrim.
Only other Skyrim has been Skyrim released like 30 times. It got a release this year. Don't forget the anniversary edition. So, I mean, other than Skyrim, there hasn't been any Skyrim. So, I guess they can probably get away with it because people are going to be.
I mean, hardcore fans considered Skyrim like just a Oblivion but dumbed down. So,
which was Morrowind but dumbed down.
Yeah, exactly. So,
which was Daggerfall but dumbed down.
So, which is Arena but dumbed down. So there you go. They keep dumbing their stuff down.
You can only dumb it down so much.
Well, they can keep going.
They're going to get rid of encumbrance, aren't they?
I hope so.
I think what I want to, if I had a crystal ball, I'd be less interested in the reception of Starfield and more into like, does Starfield grow into a franchise, or is this going to be like a shameful one-off?
It's going to be a shameful one-off because no one cares about it. People want this game to release.
Oh, I don't know.
They don't care. They want this game to release so they can play Elder Scrolls.
I think when it comes out, I think people will care.
Yeah.
They will care for a
Outer
month.
Planets, that did pretty good.
They will care for a month, and then they will be like, bring on Elder Scrolls 6.
I don't know. I think that type of game people love, man.
I don't think people
care about
this.
I think it's going to do really well. Especially with it being on Game Pass. I think you're going to have a lot of people.
I just don't think people care.
I
think people want Elder Scrolls 6. They don't care about this.
Well, absolutely they want Elder Scrolls 6. There's no doubt about that. But I do think I think this game is going to be a huge success.
Well, it's Bethesda. It'll be a success. But I'm just saying. All right. Well, Cheston's got a little thing for us to play to close us out. So let's hear it, Cheston.
Oh, it's me, Santa Claus.
Hey, Santa.
Hi, Derek.
How are you today?
It's me, like from the movie The Santa Claus, starring Tim Allen.
That's a good one.
I know. I killed him to get this job.
Whoa, you killed Tim Allen? Oh, you went cocaine overdose?
Didn't you watch the movie? That's how you become Santa.
That is true. That is how you become Santa.
Well, I need to deliver gifts, but I need to know who deserves them. So I'm going to leave this little list with my helper elf, Cheston, and he's going to tell you more. Gee, thanks, Santa. All right, well, I've got this list here of all the biggest publishers in the industry. And Santa wants to know who deserves gifts and who doesn't. He wants to know who's naughty, who's nice. And he says here, specifically to you, Derek, to let me read every company's backstory before you automatically say naughty, Derek. Okay, so we're going to start with Activision Blizzard. Good job, Derek. Well, Activision Blizzard's had a busy year. Let's see. So. Aside from their giant, all-encompassing scandal, they also took the developers of the beloved Tony Hawk remasters and made them be absorbed into Blizzard, and then they took the people who brought Crash Bandicoot back from the dead and put them in the COD mines. They certainly had an interesting year. What do you boys say, naughty or nice?
Gonna go against the grain here. Say nice. Nah, just kidding. They're naughty.
I don't know, guys. You guys are gonna hate me, but I'm gonna say naughty.
Like I'm pro sex abuse. so yeah,
I'm gonna have to vote nice on this.
Yeah, Activision Blizzard blows. They're very naughty.
Oh yeah.
Yes. The fact that I wrote Cosby next to their name says a lot. All right. Well, we're going to mark that one off. Done and done. All right. Now, Bandai Namco, considered one of the biggest publishers in the industry somehow. So this year, they finally showed that George R. R. Martin isn't just hanging out doing nothing. They
Hold
are
on
working
here.
on Elden Ring. Well, okay, they didn't really show that, but they showed that Elden Ring is a real thing, and they changed their logo. Oh, they also released Tales of Arise, which Derek cares about. So,
That was a good game.
naughty or nice for Bandai Namco?
I would say they're nice. Tales of Arise is pretty good. I felt that they gimped the EXP system to sell EXP boosters, just like SMT5 maybe. But other than that, which just seems to be a modern gaming thing, I think they have a pretty good year. The funny thing about George R. R. Martin is I heard that his work on Elden Ring was done years and years ago. So I think he's probably hasn't done anything for at least 6 years at this point. Just chilling, getting his royalties in. So I'm going to say Bandai Namco, nice. George R. R. Martin, naughty.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree. I think Elden Ring is looking nice. Delay doesn't bother me too much. More time to fix Deathloop. So, yeah, nice.
Okay, well, I think their new logo sucks, but that's
Yeah,
not
fair
That's
me.
enough.
okay. Every new logo sucks. They
That's
teach you
true.
to make, and graphic design school, they teach you to make things shitty now. That's the new
That's true.
appealing
That's true.
style.
All right. Well, next on my list is Capcom. Now, Capcom had some rough bumps this year. They had a really funny E3 press conference that did nothing, and they had a big old fancy leak that showed pretty much everything they're going to be making for the next 3 years.
That was
But on the
awesome.
bright side, they released Monster Hunter Rise, and also on the bright side, a lot of the things in their leak were kind of cool. So, naughty or nice for Capcom?
Capcom has been awesome lately. Devil May Cry 5, which I think is like 4 years old at this point, was a great game. The
Can't keep using that.
the Resident Evil remakes were all good. I don't care if people don't like 3 that much. I think it was good. Monster Hunter Rise, incomplete, but every game is incomplete nowadays, I suppose. So,
Hmm.
and I think it's probably done now. So, I think that game was a lot of fun. There's really not much negative I have to say about Capcom. Like they even like bring stuff over like the Ace Attorney game that had been on this
Mm-hmm.
3DS exclusive.
Yeah,
So they're
yeah.
doing right by me. So nice.
It was Japan exclusive
Yeah, it was Japan exclusive and
and
3DS
3DS.
exclusive.
Yep. All right. So, Setzer?
Yeah, I agree with Derek on this one too. Not a whole lot of to complain about from Capcom lately.
No. I thought their leak looked pretty good. Their leak looked pretty good
Yeah,
too. Power Stone was in
yeah.
there, so
Dragon's Dogma's in there.
all. Mm-hmm. Yep. So they're pleasing all of us. All right. Now on to Electronic Arts. Now their highlight this year was not being Activision. They really didn't do much this year, other than making a boatload of money off of FIFA, as always, and releasing the Mass Effect games that people liked, and doing a pretty good job with those. So naughty or nice for Electronic Arts?
Oh, I hate EA. They're always bad. They, I don't care if they're not Activision or they they released the Mass Effect games this year. What they've done to sports games is unforgivable. Part of what the problem with the Battle Pass we were talking about earlier is brought on by Apex Legends, and they took one of Setzer's favorite studios and like turned them into like a free-to-play studio forever. So I
Respawn?
will, yeah. Well,
Yeah,
Well, they make other stuff.
no, they
They
don't.
make they got the Star Wars stuff. That's pretty good.
Yeah, once every 5 years.
Yes, yes, indeed. All right, fair enough.
so I will never give EA the benefit of the doubt because they don't deserve it. So they are naughty.
I'm gonna say
Yeah,
naughty.
yeah.
This and the Battlefront or Battlefield rather.
Oh yeah, that is kind of a mess, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah, forgot about that game. It kind of
I
came and
did
went.
too. I think everyone did actually.
yeah.
Yeah, well, it had like it had like a really people liked the trailer, and then the beta came out, and they're like, ooh,
Well, it plays second fiddle
yes,
to Call of Duty, whatever that
yeah,
free to play is.
yeah. All right, Konami. They are still here.
Shocking.
That is their claim to fame. They're still here, allegedly working on remasters of the Metal Gear games again. They're also trying to get studios to basically compete to make entries in their beloved franchises like Castlevania and Contra and etc. Which is a little weird the way they're doing that, kind of making an American Idol style game out of it. But that is what it is. So Konami, naughty, nice. What were we thinking?
Is a relevant option to pick?
Yeah, yeah.
No, Santa gives gifts or gives coal. He does not just ignore.
I was gonna say like go to purgatory, celebrate Hanukkah, some other thing maybe.
I'm gonna go with naughty because I think it's screwed up to be like, well, if you want to make a game, make this whole concept for us, and we'll be like, sure. Oh, interesting.
I don't even look at them as a game company anymore.
A 2D Contra, you say?
They're just like, make the game for us and we'll let you do it. I would say I don't like Konami, so they're naughty by default, I suppose. But
a lot of wasting of good IP over in that area.
IP freely, one might say.
Yes. Well, they don't pee freely enough.
No.
More Castlevania.
Well, they released that Advanced Collection.
They did. So. I know. They did. All right. Well, naughty, I would say. Ooh, now we get into the real nitty-gritty here. Microsoft now. Microsoft had an actual legitimate first-party lineup this year. Unbelievably. They released Psychonauts 2. Yay. They released Forza Horizon 5. And they released Halo Infinite. Ooh. They also bought Bethesda, which is a lot. So, what do we think? Naughty, nice.
Naughty. The Halo stuff is enough to push me over. They're one of the richest companies in the gaming world. They have no excuse to pull this kind of shit.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy, isn't it?
Yes. They deserve a lot of scorn, and the fact they're not getting more is a red pill, so to speak.
Yeah, I'm going to say the controller I bought the other day, that's probably the only time I've ever been happy with a Microsoft product.
They're good controllers.
Yeah,
they are very good controllers. And I think my Series X is a heck of a console.
But that being said, Bethesda and Halo are, the biggest impacts Microsoft has on me personally, so I'm going to say naughty. And also because Windows 11 is a mess, and Windows continues to be a mess. And I have to use their whole, Active Directory and other tools.
Oh, yes. Yes,
I hate them for creating these torture devices.
Yes, boo Active Directory, I say. All right.
Yes.
Yeah, I think the Bethesda thing is awfully greedy, and that's not in the spirit of Christmas. All right, Nintendo, also a little greedy here. Nintendo fleeced people like Derek and I into paying more money to get old Nintendo 64 games and Sega Genesis games, I guess. They also brought back Metroid and a bunch of other franchises that I care about, including WarioWare, including they brought back Advance Wars. They brought Big Brain Academy, Pokemon Snap. There's more Mario Golf. Busy year. The OLED Switch. They have one of those, which mine is in the repair shop, so I might be a little biased on this. I don't know. I'm leaning towards naughty, but I'm not sure.
For me, they brought back Metroid.
They did.
They gave me Sora and Smash Brothers.
And did they bring back Metroid? They brought it back triumphantly.
Yes. I think their first-party line, Switch exclusive this year, have ruled. Like, there have been so many good Switch games this year. Like, I just remembered the other day that Bravely Default 2 came out this year, and that was like in February. It was one of my favorite games this year. It feels like an eternity ago. But there's been a lot of good shit on the Switch. It's hard for me to go anything but nice. I know I'm a Nintendo shill, but that's just how it is.
Well, I'm going to say naughty because Mario is for babies and Zelda does not have a gun. So
you're right. No gun for Zelda.
Good point. Well, I'm going to break the tie, and I'm going to go with nice because Metroid Dread was really good.
Metroid can't crawl in Dread, by the way, so it's an automatic. I should have went naughty.
All right. Well, Sega, Derek's favorite company, this year, they did not make any new Sonic games, but they did release a really bad port of an old one. And they decided that the Yakuza guys could defect to China. So,
well, that's not their fault.
Well, they let it happen. So.
Yeah, they could have sweetened the pot.
I guess that's
true. I'm going to go with naughty because Tencent's so naughty I didn't even put them on this list.
Well, they released Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania HD. They released Lost Judgment. Both good.
They did. Yeah.
So I will never say a bad word about Sega. They rule. So they're very nice in my opinion.
Yeah.
And Virtua Fighter 5 also this year. I got nothing to complain about Sega, except for they should have made Jet Set Radio Future backwards compatible. What's up with that?
That's right. They are naughty.
Kill them all.
Yeah, great year.
Yeah, Sega. I don't know. I haven't paid any attention to them this year.
Oh my god, you're missing out.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
say
What's
nice.
going? Oh, okay. All right. Well, Sega can be nice too. All right. Well, now Sony. Let's see.
Naughty.
Sony. Hey, I said you have to read first. You didn't jump in front of Activision Blizzard, and they're way worse. Sony murdered Sony Japan Studios, killing all creativity and joy. The studios that once brought you Parappa the Rapper, now dead in the water. But they did have the only real next-gen exclusives with Ratchet and Returnal. So, and they hate old games. But they're bringing Spartacus, maybe. So,
That's a rumor.
naughty.
Naughty. You can't evaluate a rumor on naughty or nice. Like, what if they don't do it? We give them credit for something they're not going to do.
Naughty.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, they suck. Sony sucks. I don't know what you want from me.
Yeah.
Their first party games aren't interesting. The PS5 shortages have been a pain in the butt to read about. Like, it's all bad. And the killing of the Japan studio, I can't forgive.
Yeah,
They make the most interesting games. Like the most interesting Sony stuff came out of that studio. So it's
Shadow of the Colossus, baby. Sony
yeah.
Japan Studios.
Parappa the Rapper.
Yeah, Parappa the Rapper. 2 of the best games ever made. Shadow of the Colossus, Parappa the Rapper. Naughty.
Joke,
All right. No, I know.
naughty.
All right.
Parappa
Take
rules.
Two. Take Two helped release the GTA Definitive Edition. Naughty.
Naughty.
Easy.
That talk about money grubbing. That's like a collection that should have had love put into it. Like we're talking 3 of the most important games ever made, or at least 2. But it's insane that they just kind of shat this out. They deserve so much shit for what they did.
Mm-hmm.
So big time naughty.
Yeah. All right. Ubisoft.
They suck. Naughty.
They also they like Activision are mired in a legal hell for things they did. They're bad people. They also made a new Far Cry, and they delayed Prince of Persia. Naughty.
Oh, they're
Naughty.
nice
And they
for
made
delaying
Prince
Prince
of
of
look
Persia.
bad too. Oh, they made it look bad. So naughty.
They deserve some credit for delaying Prince of Persia. The one fan out there, I'm sure he'll be okay.
I'm not.
Yeah.
I take anxiety medicine because of them.
Ubisoft sucks. They're the worst company. I hate everything
Yeah,
about them.
They're pretty bad.
All their games are the same boring template. They try to fool people into caring about Far Cry every time they make one. And to their credit, it works. But it's very annoying to read about.
Giancarlo Esposito nominated for Best Performance at the Game Awards.
Good for him, but I'm sure he's just another guy in that game.
Yes, absolutely. All right. Let's close with Derek's favorite. Let's close Square Enix. Their highlight this year is Final Fantasy XIV had a heck of a year. You could not go 2 feet without hearing about Final Fantasy XIV having the most players ever, being the best game ever made. I downloaded it and played it a little bit. But on the flip side, they keep re-releasing shitty games like Saga and Saga Frontier and all the Saga games, but still no remasters of Chrono Cross, Chrono Trigger.
Please note this is recorded on December 5th.
Vagrant Story, Threads of Fate. What the fuck are these games? So I'm always going to say naughty because Square's stupid. Also, they tried to kill Hitman before Hitman 2 could happen, and Hitman 2 is a gift to humanity. So, naughty.
They released Neo the World Ends With You this year, which is one of the best games to get no credit out of any award ceremony. So I gotta give them nice. They release a sequel to a game no one's heard of. That's pretty cool.
Big surprise. Derek says Square Enix is nice.
And I don't like the Saga games, but it's kind of funny that Square loves them so much. Why do they give them so much love?
Wait, hold on. They released Bound Wonderworld.
Oh, even better.
Oh yeah. That's
very
right.
nice. Now it's very nice because wacky games like that need to be released.
They humiliated Yuji Kaka.
Yeah, they sent him to. They made him retire.
And they sent him to the Shadow Realm.
They finally convinced us that Yuji Naka is as bad as we always thought he might actually be. So, yeah,
I think very nice. I would say.
Yeah.
Can I blame them for Super Mario RPG? Nice. Fuck. What?
Yeah.
I'm gonna blame them for Super Mario RPG not being on the Nintendo Switch Online service too.
That
It's a
you can
crime.
do that. It probably is their fault, but
Yeah, I will. I blame them. And the Final Fantasy Pixel remasters.
oh,
They're
I
like
don't care about that.
$90.
Yeah, but FF14 is so good it kind of overshadows that.
Oh, you
And
Final Fantasy 14 fanboys. I tell you what. Yoshi P could come, like, kick you in the groin, and you'd be like, yes, do it again. It was brilliant.
Probably.
It felt so good.
And as I said, The World Ends with You Neo came out this year. Great game. And there's rumors that Chrono Cross is going to get remade, even though I shut down.
We can't
rumors.
use remasters. You can't use rumors.
I have decided that I'm going to allow it in this case.
I will retroactively make them nice forever. If anything, okay. Well, actually, let me clarify. If the Chrono Cross remaster is real, 1, but 2, it can't be too much of a remaster. It can't be like, I don't want them to make it ugly like they do a lot of their games. I just want a really general touch up, like they do with Final Fantasy VIII. That's all I want.
Yeah, that's what I want.
And it's got to be on the Switch. But if it's a full-on remake, Final Fantasy VII remake style, well, 1, that would be the most questionable release of all time. But 2, I would not be amused.
They're courting the Derek audience, which is historically not a very profitable audience.
No, it's very audience that only spends money on, like, I don't know, Shonen Jump subscriptions.
It's only $1.99 a month. It's what's worth my money.
I know. You're reading. Keep sending me One Piece stuff.
Oh golly.
No, I like it. It's just odd. I never pegged you for a One Piece thing.
Very interesting stuff.
So just to recap for old Saint Nick before he runs off to film the Santa Claus 4, starring I don't know, Ryan Gosling, his little elf or something. The only companies that were listed as nice are Bandai Namco, Capcom, Nintendo, Sega, and Square.
Wow, I wonder who voted nice on all those.
Everyone else is off to hopefully have a better next year. I'm looking at you, Activision. You can't do worse. Bar's pretty low. You fire Bobby Kotick, we'll consider giving you something.
I'll give him an automatic nice if they do that.
Yes. And if they shame him on the way out, like they put like a kick me sign on him as he walks out the door.
Tomatoes at him.
Boo! You stink, loser. Ooh.
Oh, I guess I do.
I just wanted to make Call of Duty.
Yeah, that about wraps it up this week. You can reach us on Twitter at AllTodayPod or on email alltodaypodcast@gmail.com. This is Derek.
I'm Setzer.
And Cheston, next week awards.
Yes, we have awards next week. So talk to you later. Bye.
Adios.
Bye.
Got a demon, what am I? It's time for me to choose my path. The power of my God hand, no evildoer will get past. Hand to hand or fist to fist, kick your nuts or twist your wrist. God power keeps my pimp hand strong, so trust me or you won't last very long. Dragon kick your ass into the Milky Way. Milky Way. Don't act like you don't like the Bulbasaur. Bulbasaur. My arm, my arm, my arm, my arm, my arm, my arm. The summon of the powers of the God.